What's up, Vetters? Patrick here with Vetted. Today we're talking about this.
What do you or the president know about UFOs? Can you share? I hear that the president has something in the queue to share with us.
We are not alone in the universe. We are not alone on this planet.
All right, Vetters, please hit that like button. That really helps out the videos. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. All right, Vetters, so what is today's video about? Well, you kind of got a taste of it there at the beginning, right? So I'm perusing X, and I see this post from Red Panda Koala, right? Basically saying that Lara Trump, Donald Trump's daughter-in-law, is going to be, you know, she suggests that Donald Trump is going to be making an announcement about UFOs soon, right? So I'm like, what? Right? So look, let's break all this down. Let's play the clip.
What do you or the president know about UFOs? Can you share? I hear that the president has something in the queue to share with us about all of this. Now, truth be told, I'm trying to remember how long ago it was. It may have been right after he left office, after the first term. I remember Eric being like, all right, what can you tell us? And he was a little hesitant to give us any real info, which makes me think like he's got a lot of info out there and he's waiting for the right time to drop it. And maybe this is going to be the time, because I keep seeing all these stories about how he's got some like UFO speech that he's got queued up, and you know, we all should just kind of sit back and wait. Now, here's the thing I'll say. What do I know about UFOs? What I know is that our universe is so enormous. It actually, if I start thinking about it, it makes me a little crazy. You think about just our solar system, okay? And then you think about how many solar systems like ours are in our galaxy. And then you think about how many galaxies are in this universe. The whole thing is just, it's kind of like mind-boggling. So the idea that the only form of intelligent life out there is us, that we're like twerking on TikTok and stuff, that's it. I don't know. I find it hard to believe. I fully believe that there's other life out there throughout the universe. And if you look at some of the like prophets, you know, these are people hundreds of years ago, or I don't even know how long ago. A lot of them say that sometime soon we're supposed to have some sort of an interaction with another form of life from outside of our planet. So I don't know. I fully believe there's more out there. I think it would be a heck of a waste of space if it's just us here and we're doing like dumb challenges and again, like just twerking on TikTok. There's got to be more out there.
Now, before we get into all that, I just want to make a quick announcement that I am doing a live stream with Red Panda Koala soon coming up about UFOs and the Epstein connection, okay? Because there's a lot going on about that, and he's been covering the hell out of it on X, all right? So I'm going to put a link down below. Please go check out his account. He's covering all of it. There's all kinds of stuff going on. So we have a live stream coming up so we can talk about that, and I'm really excited. But let's get to this post, right? Lara Trump coming out and saying what she said, right? Which I found to be quite interesting, right? Again, Donald Trump's father or daughter-in-law saying this. Now, what I can't understand is if she's saying that the news that came out recently about this speech, which she kind of mentions, and I covered in another video. I'll put a link down below. I am going to play a couple clips from that. This UK filmmaker, Mark Christopher Lee, had come out with this announcement that he had an inside source in the Trump administration that Trump was going to be giving the "We Are Not Alone" speech on July 8th of 2026, allegedly, right? And, you know, I was very skeptical of that. And I have to admit, this is interesting, but it's also like, is that what she's talking about? That she just heard that news? Because she does admit that she heard that news, but it also sounds like she's talking about something else, right? And just an announcement about UFOs, what does that really mean, right? And she is kind of revealing a private story, right? Saying, hey, Eric had asked Donald, I think after the first administration, right? She's not really entirely sure, but hey, what's going on with UFOs? Of course, everyone wants to know. And he wouldn't let on, even privately. That is kind of interesting. Does he know more? He's been kind of coy when it comes to the public, right? And with all this Epstein stuff dropping, does that change it? I don't know. This is recent. So this Epstein stuff had already come out. So I don't know. I have to admit, I'm just a little interesting, right? Maybe Trump is going to make an announcement, but not the announcement we think, right? So again, there's more to cover with this, all right? Eric Burleson's made some comments. Mark Christopher Lee has come out with some new comments. So let's talk about that. But first,
diving deep into all these wild UFO stories and eyewitness accounts, I spent a ton of time researching, editing episodes, and just freaking out over all the crazy UFO stories I hear. And I want to go visit some of these famous UFO sites in person. But a while back, I had this epiphany staring at my bank statement, where I realized I was paying for a bunch of subscriptions I barely used anymore. Stuff I'd signed up for ages ago and totally forgot about. It was like uncovering a hidden cover-up in my own finances. That's when I started using Rocket Money. And honestly, it's been a game changer ever since. The app scans all my linked accounts, finds those unwanted subscriptions in one place, and lets me handle cancellations right there with just a few taps, saving me time and stopping those sneaky charges. And the automated savings feature, it's set it and forget it. So I can finally go visit some of these UFO sites in person. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Who doesn't want that? Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/vetted. That's rocketmoney.com/vetted. rocketmoney.com/VETTED. Or just use the link in the description as well.
here's the original clip from Mark Christopher Lee from his TikTok where this all started.
Okay, this is mind-blowing. This is amazing. I wanted to do this post to let you know, to share the news. I was contacted last night by an insider from Washington, D.C., from the Trump administration, who told me basically that President Trump has already written his speech, his statement that he will give about UFO disclosure this year. It was originally scheduled for September at the United Nations Assembly. He has been authorized, apparently, by the world's leaders to give this speech, but he's a bit wary that China and Russia may jump the gun on him. So be prepared. We could get UFO disclosure, the truth, very, very soon. Maybe even in the next week or so. It's going to happen. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. This is mind-blowing. It's a paradigm-shifting event that will change how we think about the world, ourselves, the religion, the universe, you name it. Okay, let me know your thoughts. This is going to happen. Trump will be the UFO disclosure president. Thank you.
Right. So again, it's very specific that it's not just going to be some generic, speech about we're alone, we're not alone in the universe, because the real caveat is that this speech is to announce we're not alone on this planet. We have recovered craft, bodies, all of that. There's proof. It's a given, widely accepted. Boom, right? Basically this domino effect that other countries would then come out with disclosure, because allegedly that's kind of what Donald Trump fears, is that other countries are going to make the disclosure announcement. He's not going to get credit for it, right? But then why postpone it for so long, and why tease it out that it's going to happen now? Right, months ahead, when it could give our quote adversaries a chance to do that. So I don't know, it's very interesting. And who is this Trump insider source, right? Mark released this second video after the first video, sort of giving more details about the actual date of when it happened. Because when he originally released the video, he said it could happen within a week. Clearly that hasn't happened, but they give the date of July 8th, 2026.
Okay, massive breaking bombshell news. Remember that Washington Trump administration insider that told me that President Trump had already written the speech ready to go for UFO disclosure this year? Well, now he's got back to me and told me the exact date, and you can hold me to account for this, okay? It's going to be July the 8th. Why July the 8th, you might ask? Well, it's basically the 79th anniversary since the Roswell press release. So that's why. And he's basically going to be saying, yeah, Roswell was real. We captured a flying saucer. We captured occupants. This is the truth that he's going to reveal. And we have an ongoing program alongside the aliens, reverse engineering their technology, and they're living, amongst us, basically. This is the truth that's going to be released on July the 8th. What are your thoughts? Thank you.
So again, I'm still very skeptical of this, I have to be honest. And Lara Trump's comments are interesting, but it's ambiguous because I don't know if she's just talking about this speech, because clearly she heard about this news. Because after I made my video, not because of my video, I'm not saying that, but it went everywhere. Okay, it's not everywhere, but it went a lot of places. I mean, clearly she's heard about it, right? It got spread pretty far and wide. Daily Mail's articles, it was all over Twitter, right? With huge accounts sharing it and talking about it. So again, and Mark Christopher Lee is putting his entire reputation on the line here. I don't think this is one of those things where people will forgive and forget. If this doesn't happen, nobody will really believe anything he says moving forward about insider information, right? Now, I will say that in my video, I had stated that why doesn't that inside source just say it himself? Why do they use people to come out and say stuff, right? You know what I mean? It's like, why not the source come out and say it, right? Well, Mark Christopher Lee has provided an update on that particular aspect of it, which I do find to be quite interesting. Let's take a look. Important update from my Washington source on President Trump's UFO UAP disclosure speech. The truth is coming faster than we think. Stay tuned. And then they give more info with this screenshot of what looks to be like, a message they wrote to themselves essentially to put out. My trusted insider source in Washington reaffirms President Trump has prepared a historic speech confirming we are not alone, acknowledging extraterrestrial visitation and evidence recovered on Earth. It's targeted for July 8th, 2026, the 79th anniversary of Roswell. This aligns with Lara Trump's recent interview, where she shared that she thinks the president is getting ready to disclose information about UFOs, adding to the growing momentum. Big news. The source plans to come forward publicly soon and hold a press conference. This could build massive pressure and potentially force the truth out even earlier than July. Answering your questions. Why me? I've known and done business with this person. I trust them completely. They chose me because they know I share info openly without holding back for leverage. As a trained journalist, filmmaker, transparency is everything. The public deserves this. And then they put a note saying that his own views basically about UFOs maybe don't align with what President Trump's going to come out and say because he thinks they're interdimensional or something along those lines. So, but all right, that's interesting. I'm glad the source is going to come out, hold a press conference. Now, are they going to say that they're Mark Christopher Lee's source? Right? Is Mark Christopher Lee going to be there? Is there just going to be a press conference? That is unclear, right? Or is Mark just going to try to connect himself to something that happens? I don't know. But I don't know how that leverage works the other way. They tell Mark something, and I don't know how he has the leverage there. But anyway, people tell you secrets to leverage you, not the other way around. So that's interesting. But again, I am happy that this source is allegedly going to come forward. Will he state exactly what Mark did? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of unanswered questions. I am very skeptical. There are a lot of red flags for me. But if it happens, it happens. I'm willing to admit I was wrong. I guessed wrong, and we get disclosure. That's okay with me, right? To be honest with you. But personally, I don't, and I wonder what's going to happen when this doesn't happen. And if Trump just makes a generic UFO speech and declassifies some files, that's moving the goalposts. That's not the same thing, right? Again, Mark is claiming that, Donald Trump is going to make a speech exclaiming, we're not alone on this planet and we have recovered craft, right? That's a big difference from just talking about we're not alone in the universe. There's probably life out there. There's been some interesting things flying around. Let's declassify all the files we have. All right, those are two different things. I can definitely see Donald Trump doing the latter. I can definitely see him saying, hey, we got some things, here's some files, right? All of that. I definitely could see that happening. The actual disclosure, are not alone speech that we're all expecting, and a lot of us assume that's what Mark means. And I'm glad Mark's being specific about that, to be honest. I don't know. I just don't see that happening. And why would it happen sooner? Right? If you're setting it for this Roswell anniversary, which coincidentally, July 8th is the 250th anniversary of the United States, right? 2026. And there's a huge celebration that day. So it seems odd that he would give this speech on that particular time, because it's going to take away, right? Does that make sense? So I don't know. I don't know, right? And why would you have the speech prepared so far in advance? I guess that I could understand, but why would that get released? That doesn't make sense. And I go into that in that video that I made previously. I would think that that's sort of classified information. And the stuff that's in the speech is probably classified, that he's revealing, declassifying it essentially by revealing those details and confirming, right? I could be wrong. I'm not an expert on all that. But anyway, I explained that in my other video and give examples of what happens to people when they release classified information, and by the Trump administration. But again, I will say Lara Trump's comments are interesting. I believe her when she's saying that stuff, to be honest with you. It just, what does it mean? It's still ambiguous, right? There's not enough details. But look, I'm very curious to hear what you have to say in the comments. Let me know. Yeah, very curious what you have to say. Now, I will say one last clip for you. Representative Eric Burlison had some interesting things to say in a recent interview. This is what he said about Donald Trump and UFOs.
One of the asks that I've put into the White House, and I think that they legitimately are trying to make happen, is a series of visits to some of these locations, right? Like I have obviously been given throughout this investigation locations that where it's reported that that these materials or objects or craft exist, or the bodies exist, or the archive exists, and we have that's where that sits. We've given the DOD a list. So the White House has told the DOD to make it happen. I mean, to Trump's credit, as a disclosure. So that's the extent at which they've been involved. Is literally just saying to the Department of Defense that, hey, Burleson, we're backing his request. Do what you can to make it happen. And so I'm very grateful for that. It's been very difficult to make happen.
You still got some obstruction.
Yes. So we still, I mean, it's got to go all the way down to the end of the fingertip level. And so but at the top of the DOD is doing what they can to try to organize this. And it may have to be slimmed down at the beginning. So one of the first, right now we're looking at following all of this process to have at least just myself go to one site. And at least that's what they're asking. And then once we see that process work and have figured out the path, then we'll repeat that to the other locations and include other members of Congress. But at this time, to do a scaled down visit is what we're looking at. And eventually we will go to Area 51 as one of those locations, although really just for nostalgia. From everyone that I've spoken to on this topic that has any kind of information, they say that that's not where the goods are not there. So there's a lot of neat things to see out there. And I think I think it's just completing the whole puzzle. It's something that we definitely have to go see. But I've been told that that's not where you're going to find the evidence.
So that is interesting. Eric Burlison has put in a request to the White House. They've granted it, told the DOD or the Department of War, hey, give them access, right? Make it happen. Now, if the Senate or the Congress people don't get access to these facilities, does that mean anything? Even if they get access, are they going to get the kind of access they want, right? Couldn't these people that are hiding it just give them a tour and not really show them the secret stuff? How would they know? They're not familiar with everything there. How would they know they're not getting the real access, right? Because allegedly a lot of this is kept from presidents, right? So I don't know. It's still, is that enough? Maybe not, but it is a start, right? It is a start. We always say, hey, why aren't they going to see these places, investigate? I mean, that's what Eric Burlison is trying to do. So I will give him props for that. Does anything come from it? Who knows? And that's probably more, subjective than anything. I think each and every person will have to decide, the veracity of what comes from that, right? So that is kind of interesting. And maybe that's part of Trump's speech. Like, okay, go figure this out, go confirm it, come back, we'll make the speech. I don't know. Maybe they're just plans that aren't going to happen. I don't know. Could this have been leaked to put pressure on Donald Trump to make sure that he does it and he doesn't back out, right? Someone in the Trump administration was like, hey, you better not back out of this. I don't know. All right. There is a lot of questions to ask, but it's just interesting, right? I have to admit, it is interesting. I'm still skeptical, but, in a good way. And do I hope it happens? Absolutely. Of course. I want it to be real. All right. What's my saying? I want to believe, not be deceived. Now, real quick, I do want to say that yesterday I made a video and included some comments about Matthew Brown in it. Let's say one of Matthew Brown's friends, was not happy and basically called me out on Twitter and private DMs on Twitter that I was endangering Matthew Brown's life. And it was a dangerous thing that I did, and it was a dangerous video that I made. A little over dramatic, if you're asking me. But basically accused me of, accusing Matthew Brown of committing crimes and blah, blah, blah. I made a response video about it. I put it on X. I'm going to put a link down below if you want to check it out. I totally disagree with this guy and what he said about me. But at the end of the day, watch the video, decide for yourself. I'm not taking the video down because I personally do not think I endangered Matthew Brown's life at all. I simply offered suggestions like we do all the time on here. It's speculative. We offer hypotheses. That's it. In my opinion, I think maybe, do you see? It's just part of this game, this web. And Matthew Brown does that as well. And so does this guy who accused me. He hypothesizes all the time. So why am I any different, right? Anyway, link down below if you want to see my response to that fiasco. All right, y'all. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for all their condolences for the loss of my sweet pup, Rocket, who passed away this past week. It's very difficult on my wife and I. Rocket was with us for 14 years. We rescued him in Grenada in 2012 when he was just a puppy. He was abandoned in Grenada by La Alhambra, which is this like famous old Moorish castle. It's like 1,500 years old. He got abandoned with his brothers and sisters, other puppies there. And just great story there in Spain, in southern Spain when we lived there. And, they told us, hey, some friends that had found him, right, said, hey, can you watch him for just a couple days while we find him a home? Well, within 5 minutes, my wife and I were in love with this dog, and we kept him, right? And he's been with us 14 years. And unfortunately, he had some severe medical complications recently, and it went downhill fast, y'all. And we had to, send him to the big dog park in the sky, unfortunately, to, couldn't watch him suffer anymore, right? So we did the best thing for him. He went in peace. We got to have some very special moments with him and say our goodbyes. And it was sad. Honestly, it was one of the toughest things I've ever had to go through. And I still think about it all the time. I don't want to get emotional here, to be honest with you, because Rocket was a part of our family, right? And we have one other pup, Mac, who's 1 year younger, 13. You see me post videos about him And I've posted stuff about Rocket, but not recently because he's been sick, right? And it was very tough. But I just want to say everyone was so sweet with all the messages they sent and condolences and respect that people showed. That meant a lot, to be honest with you, reading all those messages. And it sounds like a lot of you have gone through this as well, and you know how tough it is. So, my best to anyone out there who's also gone through this, right? It is tough and it is a lot to get through, but it's worth the joy that you get with them, the time you get with them, right? Especially a rescue, right? We rescued Rocket and Mac as well. We rescued him as well as a puppy. I think personally, that's the only way to go when it comes to pups. But look, all pups need a home. So at the end of the day, you taking a pup into your home and taking that responsibility to take care of them and show them a good life, I got nothing but respect for that. And I'm going to miss Rocket a lot. Okay. Been my best friend for 15 years. He got such a good life. And I'm so happy that, he got to come back to Spain, come full circle of where he's from in his passing. Again, he went in peace. I'm grateful for that. I know a lot of people don't even get that opportunity. So it was tough, but I really, really appreciate all the support. Honestly, I can't tell you how much it meant. And I was a little worried about putting that information out. I'm actually a very private person. And I was worried people were going to roast me or troll me, right? And I couldn't take that. Not with something so personal to me. And one person, some asshole actually did write bombshell on my post about the passing of my dog, right? I hope there's a special place in hell for that guy, but it was only one person. So I'd say that's pretty good because I got over 1,000 comments on the 2 platforms that I posted it on about it, and a lot of DMs and messages about it offering condolences. So one person, that's pretty good considering it's social media. But God, what is in the heart of that person that would write something like that, right? Like, it's all because of someone's opinion on UFOs, y'all. Absolutely crazy. So anyway, thank you guys for the support. It means a lot. We are a family here at Vetted. We are a community. It goes beyond aliens, UFOs, any of that. It's about humanity, right? And our animals, right? Our pets, our family. That's what's most important to me. My family, my friends, right? My tight circle. That's what means the most to me. And again, just thank you for the support. We'll see you guys on the next one, y'all. Remember, Bettas, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace.